Is it wishful thinking, a perfect match, or a mismatch when it comes to putting your children in a key position inside the company? Stay tuned. You're going to enjoy this one. One of the things that we try to do at Nabity Business Advisors when we're starting work with a client is to do a good assessment on all the key people that are involved in the organization to help determine what the right succession plan should be built to make sure the company is going to succeed long-term when mom and dad are gone. And we always have 4 goals. 1, we want to make sure the right people are running the company, that it doesn't have to be sold off because children and siblings and aunts and uncles are fighting. That if there are key people that aren't family members, but they're essential to making the company hum and run well, we want to try to find ways for them to get equity in the company. And then after we do all this planning, we want to make sure that everybody still loves each other when it's all said and done. Now, one of the things that can really mess this up is if parents have children in line to become successors, and the parents are putting the child in the wrong spot in the company with wishful thinking, hoping that that child somehow will flourish. So what are some of the simple spots? Well, there's kind of like 4. There's like being the person that leads the company, is the CEO, drives the agenda, and brings everybody along with them. There's the people that do sales and marketing, and they're the communication piece of the company that is out there trying to bring in new business. Then there's the people that like to help support and serve the customers that you have in the company, in addition to the people that are in the company. So they're in a really great support role. And then the 4th thing is people that are into all the analytics. Could be the accounting, finance, IT, you name it. These are the thinkers that you couldn't get them to get behind a microphone like this and talk. And you certainly wouldn't put them in charge of running the operation. Because that's just not their skill set. And many times what we see happen, though, is a parent will have a child in mind to be a CEO, but they're really fitted for support, or they're really fitted for the accounting and the finance side of things. The worst thing you could do with them is put them in a position that would create huge responsibility, huge fear, and be so outside their normal ability to function that they'll fail and not do good. And that adds extra pressure, especially if the child felt like they had to come in the business because they didn't want to disappoint mom and dad. So one of the things we like to do is to do this old tried and true study on the kids and the management team called the DISC profile. And I'm sure you've seen this, but the DISC profile grades people on how agreeable and relational they are, and how skeptical and questioning they are, how active they are and driven they are, and then how receptive they are as far as just reacting and following. And I brought along, what do I got here? I got 5 assessments that we did for our clients. In many ways, the parents are like looking and trying to figure out, okay, which child fits in what spot. And so I want you to look at this and ask yourself the question, where do you think this person fits? This person is very low on the drive. This person likes to take charge to get things done and makes decisions and takes actions. They're very low on the influence. An influencer likes to engage others and shares enthusiasm and inspires and persuades others. Sometimes my wife thinks I should be a Walmart greeter, and that would put me, up in this category where an influencer doesn't have anybody that's not a friend. So then you get down into the support side, and this person is helpful and shows care for others, and they look for ways to assist and serve. And then this last part is clarity. They work steadily within systems and focuses on order, accuracy, and precision. If a person is really huge on this side, they're meant for the accounting world, where you basically push data at them, shove it under the door. They could care less whether they're going to relate to anybody else. Just get them the facts and the data, and they're going to figure it out. The support side of it is somebody who's caring, willing to have other people's backs, does not want to disappoint or hurt or rock the boat or create any problems. So when you look at this kind of person, what sort of a job do you think they might want to be in? You know, my thought is accounting would be great, customer service would be great, but somebody that reacts to what's going on, not somebody that drives the agenda. So if a parent thought somebody like this should be a CEO and run the company, it would be a big mismatch. Okay, so let me bring you another one. Now, this is somebody completely different. This person has drive, they have good analytic skills, but where they're really strong is in the influencing and the support. What do you suppose would be a great spot for a person like that? To me, I'm thinking sales and marketing and customer support. This could be a perfect example of somebody that does outside sales and they're out building relationships and hosting events, golf outings, you name it. But this person would kind of be the face of the organization as I look at this, but smart enough to be able to work with the accounting and has enough drive to go out and hit their numbers every week as far as getting in front of people and making things happen. Now, let's look at this. What do you suppose this person would be good at? Almost no people skills. This person could give a rip whether anybody's happy or not. They are driven off the charts, and they're analytical as all get out. Where do you suppose you'd put that person? I'd hate to see him in the CEO role because with the lack of empathy that they have here and their skills to relate to and communicate with people, they could do great damage as far as pounding away at people, especially if they bring in their analytical skills and they have all the facts, they have all the data, and they're going to drive and beat the crap out of everybody else around them to help them come into compliance. This person could be a problem if they aren't managed properly. They're smart enough to work in accounting and finance, and they're smart enough to have the drive to get things done. So you got to be very careful where you might put somebody like this. Otherwise, they could do a lot of collateral damage. So I didn't really give you where I thought they best fit. I mean, it could be somebody in operations. It could be somebody in accounting and finance. I don't think they should be the CEO. They just don't have the human skills to be able to do what needs to be done. By the way, this particular person thought they should be the CEO and was jealous of the person that got the CEO position. And you could see their lack of empathy and support and relational skills. All they did is just create collateral damage every time they opened their mouth. So this person was a problem to deal with in a company. Okay, let's take a look at this person now. Where do you think this person should belong? They have some smarts. They have some concern about doing support and service. Very driven and very influential. What's this look like? Is this a VP of sales? Maybe. Is this somebody that should run the accounting and finance? No way. Are they somebody that should be running the customer support place or division of the company? No way. This is a driver. This is a driven person, I think, that has great potential to be a CEO. And if not a CEO of a company, definitely somebody that is out front, marketing, promoting, driving the agenda, creating revenue, raising money, being the face of an organization, really helping it grow. That's what you want to look for there. Now, I got another one. This one, I'm gonna twist you on this one. What would you say if you saw somebody that was almost completely balanced in every area. What goes through your mind? What goes through mind is they either did not answer the questions as they authentically thought they should, or they've got big-time emotional problems because they don't have the ability to distinguish their strengths and their weaknesses. To me, this is somebody that's lost and wandering and not in a position to really be authentic about who they are, what they are, and what their giftings are. This person's going to be a problem and probably is pretty easily replaceable. So we come back to this. What do you do now? And this is where I get into real stressful situations with, and sometimes I can get myself fired because I try to help parents really think through this. What do you do if you've got one child like this, one child like this, and you got another one like that, and you want them all, mom and dad love them all so much, they care about them so much that they want them all to have the same amount of stock when they die. What do you suppose is going to happen? Well, my experience tells me that this guy is going to eat the others alive. This guy won't be able to keep up and fight back and stand their ground. And this one's going to be wanting to run and operate the company the right way. But these two are going to be boat anchors that they're going to have to carry. This guy's going to have to carry for years. And it'll create so much stress and so much frustration that, the company could get sold off. But these folks are definitely not showing up for Christmas and New Year's and Thanksgiving with their family because they're going to end up hating each other. What I really feel is important is you've really got to get a good sense of who are the most capable, the ones that are the most influential at running and operating the business, and then designing the succession plan around the people that are going to make the biggest difference on the company being successful. For example, let's say that you've got one child that's an MBA. They got an accounting and finance background. Their scores show that they're really on top of being the CEO. And it's a no-brainer to allow them to run and operate the company. And then you've got somebody else that's kind of like this, where you don't really know where they are. They could probably be easily replaced. But mom and dad loves both kids the same way, so they want this child to have half the company and the other one to have half the company. It doesn't work. You can't do that. It should be a merit-based system. Now, most parents that have successful companies have plenty of assets in other places. They've got real estate. They've got stocks and bonds. They've got other assets that they can move to the children, so that if you're worried about the parent or the children feeling like they're being treated the same way, you can allocate the business toward the people that really know how to run and operate it, and allocate other assets to the children that aren't active or the ones that aren't delivering like the other one is. You can also buy life insurance and just make sure that everybody knows that mom and dad loves everybody equally the same, but the business has to be run by the people that are the most capable and will be the wisest stewards of running those companies. And the last thing you want to do is create such a mismatch of children on the payroll when mom and dad are gone, where you got one of them that is really doing well and the other ones are they're being drug along and they're getting paid for and cash flowed by the high performer. Now, I did this on myself. I did it a few minutes ago too. What do you suppose I look like? So what this test shows, and it's a lot like what it was like back when I was 25, if you go through and you answer the questions quickly, it shows I have really, really high drive. I really am big on influencing. I'm basically an entertainer. I've been an entertainer my whole life, whether it's coming up through college doing music and then being in music ministries and churches and, all the media stuff I've done. Anyway, So that fits. Now, where I feel like it's off a little bit is because I can be incredibly analytical and even a lot more analytical than people that are just in the analytical side, because I can apply the analytics to solutions for solving client problems. And one of the things that drives me crazy is starting a project and I don't get it done. I can't finish it. And I can't finish it because this is delayed and that's delayed and somebody else is over here, or accountant drops the ball here, or an attorney drops the ball there. And so driving and making sure we get to the end of it all is really, really important to me. And I like to get things finished. But on the support side too, anybody that knows me knows that I am very supportive and very compassionate. I do a lot of marriage counseling, and I am very, very patient with people when it comes to what's going on in their marriages. And so I do a lot of mentoring and Bible study. So there's a big support process for me too. So this isn't a true reflection. But if you go to my basics, being driven and being an influencer is what I'm all about. So why am I getting into all this? I think it's really, really important, parents especially, that you slow down a little bit and get a third party involved in the company and take the time to really do some assessments to figure out what your child's greatest giftings are, what their most natural giftings are, and see if you have on your org chart an ideal place for them. If you don't have an ideal place for them on your org chart, I strongly recommend that you help them find an industry and a business that they can work in where they can thrive, rather than putting them on the payroll and just hoping they're going to fit in somewhere. Either create a position you know they can succeed in, or help them find someplace else to work where they can succeed. One of the worst things I see are people that are in their 50s that came into the business when they were 25 because they thought they had to satisfy mom and dad. If they had to do it all over again, they would have never come in. They would have done something else. And they're too old to move and do something else, but they're not happy, so they're stuck. And it's really, really important that you don't let that happen with your kids. The other thing is, don't ask a high-performing child to carry non-performing siblings. Don't do it. It won't work long-term. Everybody might be on the best behavior while you're alive, but once you're gone, things explode and become a big problem. Now, you can solve that problem by having voting shares in the hands of a higher percentage of voting shares in the hands of some versus others. You can do it by having different proportions of stock ownership based on responsibility in the company. But when you start going down that road, you really want an outside third party to help you with that, so that it isn't like mom and dad's picking on anybody. You're getting outside help to help you work that out. But, we've been going through a lot of these assessments lately, and I've been looking at them, and it's like, we got a company right now where they're looking at bringing children into the business that are not working there now to kind of help round out the succession plan. And you got to make sure that each of them are a little bit different, so they bring something different to the table and can complement each other. Going through these sorts of assessments is the only way I know to get a start on that.